Hello, thanks for the introduction. Where do I start? C3, some of you are bound to know us, we've been around for 24 years. I've been there for most of those 24 years. Most of the staff at C3 have been with us for sort of 15, 16, 17 years. That's always something I'm kind of pleased to say when I stand here. What do? We provide communication solutions that ranges from voicemail, voice recognition solutions, multi-channel contact centres, PCI DSS credit card solutions, and all of them are core technology agnostic. We don't really care if you've got Cisco, DXs, Microsoft Link, we work with all of them. Today I'm going to speak about IVR for call centres, self-service applications. I'm looking at how we simplify deployment, look at introducing intuitive interfacing, the use of text-to-speech and voice recognition, and also touch on multi-channel deployment. That's for self-service and for the contact centre side of it. One of the key things I'll discuss is possibly the reusability of data integrations that you've got and make them available over multi-channels as you progress. I'll also touch on multi-channel deployment. I've spoken about that bit. And I'll look at a little case study for the University of London, and I'll discuss that when we get closer to the point. Okay, what the IVRs basically do, the key thing I would like to pick up from this slide is its ability to provide service and customer interaction 24 hours a day. It does a lot of other positive things there. It can improve efficiency. It can improve the agent's lot. It can smooth out extreme peaks, and we can touch on what happens at clearing time and how it may help if you're SIP-based running multi-channel contact centres. Yeah, move on to the next one. Okay, well, what are the key objectives when you set out putting in a self-service IVR for a contact centre? I'll touch on that a bit more. Will multi-channel deployment improve efficiency? The answer is possibly yes. The asynchronous nature of the SMS, the email and the web chat means that you will be able to handle more interactions quicker, more efficiently. And I'll touch on that a little bit later as well. Make integration work for all channels. At any part of these services or application development, you're going to deal with APIs, which are the bane of many people's life, but once you've got that development in place, you should try and make it as reusable as possible. And we'll look at a kind of a development in the case study. We'll look at a development of user interface where you can reuse these kind of integration as modules. And these modules, again, can be made available to an SMS interaction, an email interaction, an automated web chat interaction. It's getting that back-end database interface right, but make it available to as many channels as you can. Make the deployment simpler. In the past, creation of voice scripts and now multi-channel scripts has been very complicated and has to be scoped out to nth degree before anyone does anything. With the introduction of graphical user tools and different types of technology like voice recognition, text-to-speech, the deployment becomes an awful lot easier. Going forward, easier to manage, you can make changes quicker, you can even allow departments or individuals to change certain functions and call flows. A lot simpler to do than it was before. And part of it, if you're looking at what the end application is, who's getting this information, who's getting the call, and trying to improve the agent's position by giving them more reasons, more closure reasons for the call, more traceability after the call's there, introduce granular reporting so you can take out options that are not used by anybody. Let's take it from there. Okay, main objectives when you start out putting an automated or self-service system. Reduce costs? Possibly. Certainly at a front end, if you're using voice recognition, you can through far more options far quicker, and you can automate the full process so people can speak the name of the application they want, even the name of the person they want, and then that removes the need for the human intervention in there, especially having the back-end database interaction and integration. Improve customer satisfaction? Arguably yes, because we do lots of these services with many mobile operators, and the profile as it builds up, if people are used to using an automated service, they'll use it more regularly, they'll use it more frequently, therefore the level of satisfaction increases. In your environment, in your market, will it help you obtain more students? Well, it depends on a number of factors when you get there. But what it will do is allow you to deal with more inquiries over multiple channels. So therefore you've got a better option of dealing with students, giving them what they want quicker, and potentially getting more on board. The other bits in there, operational efficiency, back onto where I was before. If you have more channels and the asynchronous nature of those channels, the deployments that we have already in place, they are seeing significant percentages of throughput increase. And I'd say a lot of that's down to the fact that there's greater levels of self-service, but also it's the fact that people are using multiple channels that are asynchronous, so a single agent can deal with multiple inquiries at the same time. And as long as you've got a portability and SLAs built around that as part of the application, it works very well. The other thing we've seen a big change and a big use of, these applications are always considered to be inbound, so you're dealing with requests as they come in. More often than not now, people are looking at proactive communications with outbound solutions. It's not just automated callbacks or automated responses on SMS and email, but actually proactively targeting certain sectors. So profiling what inquiries are about, and proactive outbound campaigns for a variety of different reasons, whether it's alerts of failures, closures, or it's proactively pushing some sort of service or notification to people. And given that this is all running from a centralised database, you can then report in the outbound as well as the inbound responses, and you can profile these to understand the activity. The other thing we've seen a big increase in the last 4 or 5 years has been PCI DSS compliance. Historically, many of you might not know this, but C3 provided the first Tier 1 PCI DSS compliant platform in the UK. And that was a TV-based telethon platform that was used for children, so there's children in need, comic relief, those sorts of things. We've then taken that same level of compliance and scaled it down so it can be hosted as a cloud solution, or it can be deployed on site. But we've seen a big uptake in the number of people who are putting IVR type services to front contact centres to remove the PCI credit card information away from the agent. So before the call actually gets to the agent, all your call recording, all that back end stuff, the PCI DSS compliant information is removed. You're right, there are no speech files in here. I was going to give you some examples of text-to-speech, so if you want to listen to this, you're going to have to come out and see us at a little table outside. The concept was here, text-to-speech is not a new technology, it's been around for an awful long time. It has got better, and the top one there was a fairly basic text-to-speech, and then I was going to go through the various text-to-speeches that we deploy in our systems, and others do as well. But what you can have now, you may have heard that you can have regional accents, so you can bring it more to life and more in tune with what you're doing. But it does work very, very well, and I'm not quite sure where I went to. So it does work very, very well, and you can have Scottish, Irish, and I was going to go through that. But what you're going to have to do is believe me, or you're going to have to come and listen to it outside. I should have said at the start there, my accent is certainly not Cambridge. C3 is based in Cambridge. I've lived around Cambridge for 26 years. But my text-to-speech profile is more like at the higher end of the basic level than it would be at the lower end of the high-quality level. So you come and see me at text-to-speech. Again, voice recognition. We've been doing voice recognition for over 20 years. Invariably, the big problem with it is you try and set people's expectation, how well it's going to work and what it's going to do for you. The voice recognition technology is now far better, and I have to say we don't use Nuance or any of the heavily licensed ones. We've spent a lot of time developing our own voice recognition, and some of the key differences that many people do as well as ourselves, it's not so much the recognition quality, which is now sort of 80–85% if you do 10,000 names coming into an organisation. It's about how quickly and how easily you can deploy that technology. In terms of IVR for contact centres, it means you can do it very quickly to have the name of the service you want. If you've got 5 services, don't have DTMF key presses, just say what you want, then go through and get that service delivered. It takes away a lot of the multi-level menu structure, and it makes it a lot easier for people to interact with it. But again, the key thing is how easy it is to do. In the past, you had to put together a grammar database, you needed phonetics, you needed all this other stuff. You just need a text file. Just give it a text file and it'll render the voice recognition file for you. Very easy to do. Very, very, it's amazing the difference it makes to facilitate basic service. Again, you're back into what we do for a lot of mobile operators. We do a lot of the credit card top-ups. So if you're topping up balances, you're buying more credit. And the fact that you can just speak the name of the plan you want as opposed to getting read out 15 different plans, or you speak just the value you want, so you say £25, £50, £60, gets that straight away, tops it up, all moves on. So yeah, voice recognition, text-to-speech, really good technologies have come on leaps and bounds since we started dealing with them 20 odd years ago. Yeah, best practice, well there's lots of things you can do with IVRs, and these are all very, very good points to it. Yeah, best practice. Firstly, just make sure you've got the information you're going to provide automatically to it. Make sure that if you're queuing, you have enough agents. If you don't have enough agents, give enough information feedback so that people know where they are, and give them options to leave the queue and do other things, and hopefully try and push them to some other self-service service. And just test it as you go. Okay, this is University of London, and it's a case study I'm bringing up because it sort of displays 2 or 3 aspects of the way people are doing things these days. This is actually a cloud solution. It's hosted by one of our network partners. So it sits in the cloud, it's SIP trunk connected, and it's integrating into a Microsoft Link deployment within the university. Some parts of it goes here. As it starts, you've got a script start. You're doing a special days test. This is an accommodation application. We'll get to that at the back end. So you're checking the special days, date and times of days. Special dates, out of hours, that's script 10. Before it gets there, part of the philosophy is trying to drive people to a self-service application. So there's 2 or 3 options within there that pushes them to a web-based service to fulfil what they're looking for directly themselves. If they don't and they go through, they go into the main menu. Okay, main menu, you've got a prompt. You've got these various options off the prompt. Now, one of the key things about the management of the IVR script, each of these options off the menu can be recorded, call recorded individually. So you can see option 1, record that, but don't record option 2. Same with option 3 and so on. Each of those call recordings are automatically emailed away to each of the departments to deal with as and when they want. And that's all handled within a graphical user interface. There's no deployment of anything. It's just set up quite simply. The other part is the reporting. Every part of this application is reportable on, so any menu options that are not selected and menu options within menu options that are not selected can be analysed, and if they're not selected, the key thing is just get them out of there. If they're not bringing any value, just take them out as options. Anything else I can say about this? No. Okay, this is the queuing algorithm here, nothing particularly clever, but in this case the ACD is held in the cloud. Link's not doing the cloud. All the numbers are there. Each of the agents logs on to make themselves available, so it's a virtual contact centre environment. And what we have is you get into the queue, people logged on, try and push them through. If the capacity, which is configurable, you can say if there's 4, 5, 6 on various levels of queue, then do something with them. Again, the script 10 can automatically ask them to go to a self-service application, or kind of push them in some other direction to it. But as I say, the key thing here is the portability and the granular call recording that can be applied to each of the steps along the script. As I say, this has been running now for 4 months, 5 months, and it seems to have gone incredibly well. The other aspect about the online and the cloud solution, the system can support both, so you could be taking volume calls in off a cloud provider, and you can still be handling things locally off your own infrastructure. And as long as you've got a network that can deliver both SIP and TDM, you can merge and blend the 2 of them together. So it provides that dynamic capacity situation that does seem to be an area still an issue for many people during the clearing period. Within the clearing period, again back into the cloud and non-cloud type discussion, if you're on site, if you're on SIP these days, and you can get flexible licensing agreements, there's no reason why you can't have burstable capacity. We now have a number of institutions who are buying or just renting licenses for short periods of time, so you don't need your 50, 60, 80, 120 contact centre agent licenses for the full year. You only want them for that 2-week, 3-week period. Very similar to the SIP connectivity licenses. They again can be burstable and dynamic. The only thing that's not particularly dynamic is possibly the data connectivity to connect them together. But that's a solution we're seeing more and more people deploy. And again, it's a mixture of a cloud and on-site working in tandem. Again, back at the University of London, every agent, everyone has a wallboard, so you've got a specific wallboard that displays various things. These are now been blended, so you have all the multi-channels coming together, so you have the SMS, the emails, all coming together representing one. You have an administrator interface where they can drill down on how many SMSs have been received, how many emails have been received, relate that to a specific agent. And the other part that's quite important is with the agent themselves. They've got various dynamic and configurable closure responses you can put in. So if you're dealing with a specific case or transaction, you can have a reason code for why that's been successful and non-successful. And again, these can be drilled down to say successful ones, non-successful, and again, what ones over SMS, which are over email, which are over web chat, which are becoming more popular. Okay. To make things, looking at deployment of IVR's voice only, I'd say two big issues you should look to introduce is text-to-speech. The generation of prompts, the quality of the text-to-speech is far better now. Really good, makes it far quicker. You don't have to go looking for that one person on a Friday afternoon to generate these prompts for you who's invariably not there. You can have consistency in the voice because you can choose a voice and stick with it. You can have different voices associated with different applications. Voice recognition, don't be scared of it. Very easy to deploy these days. It's just a text field. You can put it in. You can build it in as part of your IVR script. You can build it in as part of your main auto-attendant. Straightforward, very easy to do. With respect to self-service and the multi-channel access, again, don't worry about it. Don't be scared about it. You can set it up as a trial. You can take all the integrations in. You can blend them as a front end for the agent. You can monitor which ones are working and not working. And then you can deploy more resources around the ones that are better, or look at the applications to improve them. Take out the options that people are not using. Take out the channels that people don't particularly use. I mentioned earlier about the dynamic nature if you use SIP. SIP should be used to your advantage. If you've got data, make sure your SIP and capability and license capacities are dynamic, and it'll give you that ability to smooth out the peaks that you're going to get during the year. Right, I don't have much more to say.